Hey, how goes it? Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today I'm here fireside chat with my my bit bro, my bro bit boy. How goes it?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on the show. I can't believe it took us this long to get this thing going.
I know, dude. It's
Yeah.
like, but it does feel just like yesterday I was on your show, so it is
It
nice to
is.
see you again.
It is true. You were just on my show.
Yeah, guys, there's going to be a link somewhere, comment section, description box. We're on multiple platforms, so keep an eye out for that, or just go to YouTube. Check out BitBoy Crypto and look for Ken Bozak. And we did a fireside chat interview. It was amazing. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to my audience? Let them know a little bit about BitBoy. Maybe, yeah, origin story, elevator pitch. Who are you in a nutshell, bruh?
Yeah. I've been in crypto since 2012. Didn't become an active member of what I would call a crypto community until last year. I went through Mount Gox, Bit Instant. I've got all those emails, from all my transactions back then. So first Bitcoin I bought was $12. So definitely been, involved with Bitcoin for a long time. Didn't really start getting, into altcoins until 2017.
That's good.
But I decided I wanted to start a channel, and a friend of mine and I had come up with these characters, BitBoy and Hodl. Like BitBoy's like this, superhero, and then Hodl is his turtle companion sidekick. We wanted to make a cartoon series out of it. We got an animator and we started working on it, and it just takes way too
Yeah.
long. The animator didn't work out, so I ended up like trying to animate a couple videos. Took forever, and I said, you know what, like I'm just gonna start doing news videos and talking about crypto like I want to, instead of just focusing on the creative side. And eventually people started calling me BitBoy. So I've become BitBoy, but really BitBoy, my character's right over there. Money Alata on Twitter made me a really sweet Twitter header of me dressed up like BitBoy. So I
I
don't know.
love it.
It's kind of been like a fun ride, fun experience. But I've really gotten to where my channel is very news focused, and I do funny intros. So I definitely do work some comedy and some different stuff in there. But it's really about educating the community about cryptocurrency. So that's kind of a little, 30,000 foot view of what I do in crypto.
There you go, guys. And to get it more in depth, definitely check out BitBoy. And yeah, like you said, a year in the content creating and really being vocal in the space, but legacy, I mean, back to pre-Mount Gox, so definitely check out the earlier content to get an idea of BitBoy and bring yourself forward and check out some of the 2019 stuff. That's what I like to do with content creators myself. Even when I listen to a podcast, I like to go back to like the earliest content or earliest podcast videos just to get an idea of like, the content creator, and then an idea of the content comes from before and afters, like what you're doing now and stuff. So it's really cool that you were in that long. And I have a lot of friends that actually have been in this space and kind of got incentivized to start creating content and voicing their opinion because of a lot of like misinformation or shilling, things like that. And they've been involved a lot longer than the people that have been vocal. And, going through Mount Gox, you have a unique perspective on what, Brock Pierce might be doing by acquiring Mount Gox. So I'm just curious, like, what's your perspective on what he's doing? What is he doing? And are you ever going to get your money back?
Well, so here's what happened with me and Mount Gox is I sold all my Bitcoins that I had at that time about a month before Mount Gox crashed. I didn't have any inside information, but it just randomly, I happened to sell it right before it crashed. Now, I did have what, would have been considered dust at the time. Now it's worth about $200 that I had left in the account.
That's a couch cushion pocket change right there, man. Whew.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it was nothing that was left in there, and it's worth $200 today. So that's what I'm getting back in the settlement. So I am in on the settlement.
Is that in Bitcoin or fiat?
I think they're paying it out in fiat.
I figured it because of the law being involved, it probably wouldn't have a choice. And I
Yeah,
heard that Mt. Gox had to sell their Bitcoin for fiat, so I figured that would be why.
Yeah, yeah. Because I was only getting $200 back, I'm not super invested. It did take me, 20 minutes to fill out the form and stuff
Damn.
like that. But and I had to. Luckily, I remembered the password that I used, because you had to have your password again in the Mt. Gox account, or either you had to like manually fill out paperwork and send it in, stuff like
Wow.
that. But I'd heard that they were going to give you the value of what it was worth at the time. And so I was expecting to get basically nothing, but then I filled the form out and it told me I was getting $200. So either I had a lot more left in there than I thought, or either they are honoring today's prices and paying it in fiat. So not 100% sure. Like if I had $10,000, I'd probably be a lot more.
So you'd basically be able to buy back the same amount of Bitcoin that you lost, that dust.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I think so, because I know I didn't have, because let's see, the price would have been around $100 back then, I think, somewhere around 100.
So you got that like 3 Bitcoin chilling still, and that's not dust.
Yeah, no, I didn't have that. So, but if I had maybe $20, $10, $5 in there, it would probably be worth about 200. So, I don't know. There's a lot of misinformation about it. It's hard to figure out.
Would you use the platform again, though? I guess that's kind of my biggest segue.
No, absolutely not.
So what do you think Brock Pierce's fucking plans are for why would he acquire an exchange that even you would never trust again?
Are you a Brock Pierce fan?
I mean, I like him. He's a good guy. I check him out, like his stuff every once in a while. I'm sort of a fan of EOS. I follow it, but I don't know what he's up to with this Mt. Gox thing. I actually reached out to get him on the podcast to figure out why, because that's what I mean. You would never use it. I never even got scammed by Mt. Gox, but I would never use the exchange, even if I trusted.
Even if it was rebranded.
Even if my mom owned Mt. Gox, I wouldn't fucking use it. I'm just sorry, dude. That was a bad investment, Mom. I don't know. What do you think the game plan is?
Well, first of all, I will not touch anything Brock Pierce is involved in personally. Going back, his dealings with the start of Bitfinex, which funneled into the beginnings of Tether, and then of course, the outside of crypto stuff that his accusations and stuff against him like that. To me, that doesn't really it might affect my personal view on him, but that stuff isn't proven for 100%. But in terms of crypto, I do think the Bitfinex is a criminal organization, to put it bluntly.
I think it's multiple exchanges have been caught using them to launder Bitcoin.
Yeah, and then when you add in Tether, that I also think is a giant scam that I don't know if it'll eventually pop, just for the fact that Bitfinex is really so good at getting around with loopholes and trying to make it.
I have a love-hate with Tether. I don't know if I love them because they keep saying fuck you to being audited. They're anarchists, rebellious, nonconformists. I don't know.
They said,
or is it just a corporate scammy loophole that they keep exploiting? Yeah. You know what I mean? I want to believe the better, but it's probably the latter of the two.
No, it's not. And the thing about the audit is they just keep saying, oh, it's not really possible for us to be fully audited. And they've had other auditors in there. I mean, I think if they get the right auditor that they can, pay off to cook the books, then maybe. But I'm not a fan of any of that stuff. So all of that stuff notwithstanding, getting back to Brock Pierce and Mt. Gox, number one, I wouldn't use it because of Mt. Gox. Number two, I wouldn't use it because of Brock Pierce. If you want to talk about plans on if it were me, if I wanted to buy Mt. Gox and do something with it, it's got a lot of name recognition. You could buy the domain, you could buy the website, you could turn it into some kind of popular website, that wouldn't be an exchange. I don't know, like Mt. Gox Legacy. It's legacy stuff from crypto, or it's got crypto education. You could kind of be like, Mt. Gox, start here and we'll show you how not to get scammed in crypto.
Ooh, interesting.
You could do something like that. You could turn it into something where it isn't, you just can't have that trust gap, right? Anything that involves a trust gap between Mt. Gox, what happened and what it wants to become.
Right. They can never be custodial service ever again.
Nobody's going to put money on there. So if you can do something with the website and the name recognition that doesn't involve, let's be honest about it. As bad as Mt. Gox was, it's a legend. It's a legend in crypto. There are very few people that I know in crypto today that are getting Mt. Gox settlements. So there's only a very, very small community of us that were around at that time when it was going on. So it's got a lot of name recognition. It's got some nostalgia involved in it. So I mean, there are some things that he could do, but if it involved anyone putting money on there, it would fail 100%.
That's my thoughts exactly, man. I wish him the best with it, cause like, yeah, it's cool, but I mean, it's just why revive? I feel like it's trying to like summon Lucifer and like reform him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you even bother with this Mount Gox thing? It's like basically might as well be the devil. It's caused so many people so much pain and so much suffering that they were out on the streets in the cold and the rain just protesting, "Where's my money?" Mount Gox, like, and Market Palace just skirt. Nothing happens. So it's
And
it's an emotional thing to kind of draw up in this industry. I think it's really an emotional tug at a disadvantaged people, that have basically been, scammed the worst of us. Like that was bad, man. Especially when you look at it and you're like, wow, it went to $20,000.
It's the ghost of Christmas, the ghost of Crypto Past.
Yes, exactly. Leave that motherfucker back there somewhere.
It won't leave us alone. But very interesting you bring up Mark Capellas, because it seems like he gets all the blame here, and right. Jed McCaleb was the one that sold it to him.
But Jeb said to everybody, like, no, he doesn't know what he was pretty vocal. I kind of looked back at some of the timestamp things that he was doing, and he was being pretty vocal as soon as he transferred the ownership. Like, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah, but we got Jed McCaleb responsible for bringing us Mt. Gox and Ripple. So
okay. All right.
I don't know. Then he wants to act like a hotshot and shoot down other people in the space and say this project's trash and this isn't good and this guy doesn't know what he's doing, and yet he sold a company to somebody that didn't know what he was doing, which really makes you question his judgment. And then of course,
well, that's Ripple all over again. Ripple is his Mt. Gox 2.0. Look what JP Morgan coin is. It's literally going to do that to Ripple. They are done. There's absolutely no reason a bank would use Ripple Labs, whatever the fuck they're doing, when they could just exactly do what JP Morgan did. That's all. They're just going to make an in-house ledger, in-house currency to make in-house transactions on a ledger, and that's it. That's all they're going to do. Why would I use a third party? I'm just going to take this and do it myself. And that's what a lot of these projects think, that they're building themselves up to be acquired or assimilated, adopted into, systems, when systems are just going to copy, paste, obsolete.
Well, it's going to come down to, I think the only chance that Ripple really has at this point, because I agree with you. I think that's right. I think this is kind of one of those outside the box things that we really didn't see coming, that all of a sudden now, JP Morgan's going to have their own internal coin. They're not a competitor to XRP, but yet they remove the need to have a coin like XRP. Yes. So I do think it's really dangerous. I think that Ripple does have a couple strings it can pull, to try to make it happen. They could come up with some, and I'll say this about Ripple. Most of us are not fans of it, right? I'm not invested in it. I was at one point and got out of it a long time ago, and personally won't be in it again. But you got to admit, it's a good company. The company knows what they're doing.
Oh, for sure. I have videos. I have videos of me publicly buying Ripple. I think around $0.01 and 3 cents. And another video of me publicly dumping it at over $3.70. It's just
nice job.
Yeah, it was a total accident. I totally forgot I actually even bought it. I bought it for a tutorial video and forgot. And one day somebody reminded me in my comments about my holdings, because I had the address in the video, and they were like, "Dude, you still have that?" And I was like, "What?" Because I was calling Ripple a scam, and somebody, was like, "You have Ripple," and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" No, I don't. And they're like, "Yeah, you do. You have a video on it." I was like, "Shit."
Well, I think it is it's a functional company. It does well. They're really good at kind of like pulling out partnerships out of nowhere. I think really the two chances they got is if they can come up with some, large banking partners, such as, I don't know, I'm just going to throw companies out there.
But they're never going to use the actual token XRP. That's the thing.
Well, they would if they use the XRapid system. If they use the XRapid system to settle cross-border transactions, then they would use it. But they would have to come up with a partnership with like Wells Fargo. You know, I'm thinking of all the scam banks. You know, Wells Fargo, Deutsche Bank,
Yeah, City and all
Bank of
those.
America. If they came up with a partnership with some of those, or a partnership with the IMF that a lot of people think may possibly be in the works, they may be able to skirt around this. But I do believe that, you know, I don't think that I think it's an inevitability that these banks are going to have their own coin. So I mean, the other possible thing they can do is push out their Codius, you know, their Codius platform where they're going to have DApps and different stuff, and try to just compete on an actual kind of crypto level with decentralized applications, because that's definitely something they do have in the works. But I don't know. If you were to ask me today, what do I think the implications of the JPM coin is or are, I would say the end of Ripple. I mean, I think that's probably where it's heading to. But I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, they've been, you know, relentless and being able to always come back from the dead. And you
Yeah.
know,
Well, I mean, they have a lot in their supply that they could do whatever they want with, you know, and
mm,
that's the thing. If it does get adopted by any banks for any use case, the banks would want it to be less volatile, more stable, or at least more moved in their favor. And with the supply that they have, the ability to just dump on the market at any time, eh, it's never really going to be in the favor of the retail investor ever anyway. It's
yeah.
just, you know, banking 2.0. You know, I wanted to maybe talk a little bit more about like your time back in Mount Gox, or like what made you want to stick in after stuff like that. You know, you're still here. So many people kind of lost faith. You know, I guess you were in around 2000, what, 9, 10?
12.
Oh, okay, 2012.
Yeah, 2012. So I don't know when Mt. Gox was first tradable. I don't know what year it came around, but I think 2012 was definitely when I got involved. So I got involved because of a software that I had to buy. It wasn't Silk Road, wasn't drug related. I didn't even know Silk Road was around at that time. But yeah, so Mt. Gox crashed in
Sure.
2014. So I had about 2 years. I've been sober since 2000, 2007. So I've had a long history of non-drug use, but a history of drug use before that. But yeah, so I got in software, and that would have been in 2012 when the place decided they were going to start taking Bitcoin instead of American money.
Dude,
So
that's awesome. Dude, I wish I knew about Silk Road when, because that probably would have got me into crypto. Like, I didn't get into Bitcoin until like 2000, I think it was like 2017, 2016. Like, the,
it all blends together now, doesn't it?
kind of Bitcoin was like $400, whatever that was on the calendar, like that time, you know. And that's kind of how I look at Bitcoin anymore, like kind of like a fossil or a tree. You just cut it and like look at the rings, you know, like the lines on the chart. Like I got in around here. How
Yeah.
old is that?
Yeah, it's yeah, so I got involved, around 2012, and like I said, I sold out in 2014 right before the crash. Whenever the crash was, I sold out about a month before that. So I didn't have any Bitcoins at that point. I used Bitcoin, throughout the years to do like, gambling. I do sports gambling. I play poker and stuff like that. So
Oh,
nothing real
cool.
crazy, but definitely used it, owned various amounts over the years. There were times when I didn't own any. There were times when I was scared of the market. I mean, I was not being involved in the community because I mean, there was a pretty robust Reddit community, but I hated Reddit up until the last couple of years. And so I didn't use it. And I wasn't really on Twitter other than a personal account. So I wasn't really involved in the community to get kind of, I guess, the education that I needed to stay in it. So I looked at it more as like a money making opportunity, like, oh, it comes up sometimes, it goes down sometimes. Sometimes it will go down too much and I'd want to sell it or whatever. So, you used a lot of different kind of exchanges in the meantime, before I got on Coinbase. A lot of them wouldn't take American customers, so they all kind of blend together. But
Yeah.
and if you think it's complicated to use now, which a lot of people do, it was so complicated back then. There was a time with the software where I told the guy, I was like, man, it's just so complicated to try to do these transactions. Can I just Western Union you some money? So
Right.
he let me money. It was MoneyGram I actually used. I MoneyGrammed it to him one time because I had to pay him. Every 3 months I had to pay a fee on the software and stuff like that. So, but I won't say that I was 100% sold on it. At any point up until about 2017 is when I really became sold that this is going to be a thing that is going to stay around, and really started kind of understanding the movement behind it. Because it all just sounded like kind of some new agey mumbo jumbo to me in the beginning. Like I remember, so I used local Bitcoins to sell my Bitcoins. It's, I don't know, just kind of funny
I
story.
used to
Like
use that a lot to make money as like sort of like
arbitrage.
arbitrage or
Yeah.
like I don't know. Like yeah, just people needed Bitcoin. I was like, "All right, fine, 10%." And they were like, "Okay." And I was like, "Get the fuck out of
Yeah.
here."
So, yeah, but I remember it was I met a guy at a McDonald's, and I think I like to think now that guy's probably really, really, really rich somewhere, just going around buying Bitcoins from people. But we met at McDonald's. We had our laptops. They had the Wi-Fi there, and we did the transaction through local Bitcoins, and I got the money or whatever. And I remember he ended up being like almost an hour late, and he said he went to the wrong McDonald's. He's like, "Oh, I thought you meant this one." I was like, "Okay." So I still remember that little detail. And so in the meantime, I was like, "Man, the value on this went up so much. Let me try to understand it." And I remember like researching Satoshi Nakamoto that day inside the McDonald's, and I was just like, "This is so confusing. I can't understand this." Like, wait, you don't even know who this guy? Well, I didn't even know that he was kind of anonymous. I was like, "So you're telling me you got this Japanese guy out there, sitting around controlling how much value this is?" I just didn't understand it. And I wish I would have kind of understood a little more about the movement, not just really focusing on like the technicals of what it was, and what decentralization actually meant. And then, I'd probably be mega rich right now because I would have stayed in, the entire time. But, I mean, I'm just a believer that this is something that is inevitable. I mean, this is what I say to people. Do you honestly think we will be exchanging pieces of metal and pieces of paper in 100 years? No,
Maybe
that's not going to
maybe
be a
for
thing.
illegal activities because that's really the anonymous currency transactions, right? Like
Yeah.
I read an article recently about, criminals still prefer cash and heads up from the year 3000, criminals still prefer cash. It's a suitcase full of cash is pretty much what, because you can track the transactions on the blockchain, especially now that we have things like Chainalysis incorporated everywhere. I want to give you all a heads up again every episode. If not, Binance has incorporated Chainalysis, and Coinbase has purchased the competitor to Chainalysis. So everything you're doing is being fingerprinted and character associated, and you're being profiled on the blockchain. And that, if you didn't know, is immutable. So that's a permanent impression you are leaving as your personality and habit forming transactions on the blockchain. So just be careful. What you're doing and what you're using, guys. It used to be harder, like you said, right? Like to get in and everything, and now there's so many convenient on ramps. But I feel like they're all like I don't know, I don't know the word for it, but they're imposters, right? Like when the government hires protesters, but they're government-funded protesters that incept
False
protesters.
flags.
Yeah,
False
false
flags.
flags, that kind of shit. Yeah, these are like crypto false flags. Like Coinbase is a crypto false flag. It's a ruse to make people. We cheered them on. We built them to a unicorn, and now they're exactly doing this thing that we hated about banks, right? Like they freeze your account, they stop withdrawals, they stop transactions, they whatever.
They want to control us. I mean, they want to control us any way they can. I mean, we're like it's so crazy the world we live in right now. Like, we're living post 1984 even. We're now beyond what that book was saying we would be at. Where I'm literally in my house the other day having a conversation with my brother that came over to, he's a plumber, came over to help with some plumbing issues we had. And I found myself like talking to him about, some different things. And I was thinking to myself, my phone can hear all this. I mean, it wasn't anything illegal. It was just like, it's stuff I wouldn't want people to know.
right.
I was like, man, I'm scared in my own house to say things with, without even like actively recording it, because I know this thing right here, I know this thing can record even when it's not on. So same thing with a lot of TVs, I mean, people killed, I forgot who it was that said microwaves could record you, but that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, no, it's not hard to hack if you're, if you know what you're doing. There's, I think the hacker convention, DEF CON in Vegas, I saw like a room full of kids that were hacking each other just for fun. You know, it's just
That's crazy.
yeah. There was like the 12-year-old kid that hacked the voting machine with a pen. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Like, yeah, it's not hard. Watch. I'm like, holy shit. So like,
That is so smart.
you know, you could have a camera on like this while I'm writing down my private keys to back up a wallet and just sit there and wait until the honeypot's worth sweeping. And that's an uneasy feeling, man. And I think, like, you know, what happened with Mt. Gox segueing into, you know, Coinbase being like that false flag, what's happening with Wells Fargo even today in the US, where there's running out of cash. There's no cash, right? Like, if you go to get $1,000 out of Wells Fargo, they don't have it. Sorry, no. They're just telling you no. So when Coinbase tells you no, you know, when you want to do a withdrawal because Bitcoin's going up and you want to make some, you know, profits or move some to another wallet or whatever, you know, it's really the same thing repeating itself. History is repeating itself so quickly, and people are already going to be desensitized to it and not even care. It's going to be like, yeah, but that's just what happens. It's the norm, you know, it's whatever. It's expected. I'm okay with that. Everybody else is. Should not be okay with that. And what's happening with, you know, the Federal Reserve just printing fiat without being audited by, you know, well, Coinbase is just selling Bitcoin without being audited. You know, I don't know how many Bitcoin they have, but if everybody wanted all their Bitcoin right fucking now off Coinbase, I bet it'd probably have a serious problem giving it all away because they might not have it.
Well, we've already seen CoinDesk reported an exclusive story a couple weeks ago about Gemini Exchange and about how they had several big accounts on there that basically they blacklisted because they were asking to, you know, exchange in their Gemini dollars or stable coins. You know, they wanted to cash out and they told them they couldn't do it. So, I mean, we've already seen that, you know, that song and dance go on. So it's the exchange world. I mean, then, you know, God, I feel like I've talked about this 900,000 times, but I mean, the stuff with Quadriga as well, you know, I mean, Coinbase came out and made some comments about Quadriga today. So, you know, not your keys, not your crypto.
Yeah, and Coinbase wants to have a fucking security theater performance on Broadway with their have your private keys on the cloud. You know, it's an act, and it's
That's a nightmare.
it's frivolous.
Nobody, yeah.
It means nothing. You know, like if you really look into it, it's encrypted by them. They can they're the only ones who can unencrypt that backup. Them. You know, Coinbase has the ability. Not you. You can't just, oh, Coinbase froze my account. Well, I got my private keys on the cloud. You can't unencrypt it. Coinbase has that key. It's still their fucking money. What's the point other than the facade of the act, right? Like, good timing on the bullshit clickbait, Coinbase.
I mean, it's crazy because it's not even a good idea, you know, like
it's not, dude. The NSA
like
is going to steal your private keys, and they're going to steal the unencryption software from Coinbase, and they're going to have the lock and the key.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Listen, if you think you can put anything on your iCloud and it's safe, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona to sell you because it's, you know, and it's so, I mean, I agree with you. It's so irresponsible by Coinbase to kind of tout this as a positive step. Yeah. I'm so confused. You know?
Am I, dude. I feel so embarrassed for them. You know, it's so unappealing. It's almost like they don't know us at all. You know, it's like they have no understanding of this crypto space, our community that we have built from the grassroots up. You know, they're just... I don't even, like, Coinbase is a parasite leeching off of us and our beliefs and our community. You know, they're not contributing in any way, I believe. I don't see Coinbase as much of a contributor anymore.
Well,
maybe in the beginning because of, you know, the on-ramp, the normalizing of crypto and making it more mainstream, everything like that, cool. But it was all a ruse for this, banking 2.0. When Coinbase coin, you know what I mean? Pegged to the dollar. You know, it's all foreseeable, and it's just Now at this point, it's become toxic more than it's become any kind of a benefit to this community. And I like that we're seeing a lot of people, like I saw BTC Sessions and other people posting their deactivation of their Coinbase accounts, and other people like saying, here, join me in closing your Coinbase accounts and stuff. So I'm with them on that. Like, let's just start publicly closing our Coinbase accounts and, you know, stop supporting this ruse. Oh, shout out to Crypto Dale. How goes it, bro? Rice Crypto, much appreciate you guys stopping by the show. Hey, don't forget, Data Bunker, if you look in the top corner, that way, right there, that top corner, you see Data Bunker. They're the monster, and if you subscribe or super chat, we can kill Data Bunker because they took over the show right there, so... Let's do that. Super chats and subscribers. My last subscriber was Janiqua, and I'm at 8 subscribers for the episode. How goes it?
Yo, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
it must be me they like, right?
Yeah, DJ Me Popsicle's so into you. I know it. I know. He's gonna get a BitBoy HODL tattoo, right?
It'd be a nice one. It'd be a good tattoo.
Do it, bro. Do it. So where do you see this space going, you know, as far as that, like what we've been talking about here, like the fake on-ramps, right? Like the banking 2.0 versus the true crypto economy. You know, are we just going backwards with, you know, better tech? Or did blockchain make banking stronger? Did we fuck up and give them weapons of mass destruction? Or will we still be able to do this without, you know, whitelisted addresses and KYCs and ALMs and the anti-money laundering, and then, you know, everything that goes with the banking system? You know, are we just doomed to them just taking this and using it against us?
No, I don't think so. I do think, like, because here's the thing. People know that banks suck pretty much, right? I mean, who do you know that loves their banker? Unless it's like a personal friend of theirs. They're like, oh, I'll go bank with them. You know, like, who's like, oh, man, you know, I sure do love BB&T. You know, that's the bank I use. Like, on a Friday, I just want to go down there and chat with the person behind the counter. Like, nobody does that, you know. You look at your account and you're like, what the is this fee for, you know? And things like that. So usually if you got to go down to the bank, it's because there's a problem. So people don't like banks. The thing is, people don't understand the alternative. They don't understand what decentralization means and taking the power away from, you know, those banking infrastructures. And I think what we're seeing right now is we are seeing that this is not going to be overnight. You know, it's not going to be an overnight thing. They are going to scrape and claw and try to keep all their power. I've made this comparison a lot of times on my channel. I really compare, I really compare this to the Catholic Church. If you were to go and look at the Catholic Church, and I'm not saying anything negative about, you know, today's Catholic Church, though, I mean, a lot of people would say a lot of negative stuff, but, you know, the Catholic Church was the most powerful entity in the world, you know, for a long time.
Still is.
It's not the most powerful.
The Vatican's got their own fucking government, a country within a...
They have a lot of money, but they don't influence me on a day-to-day basis.
They have never had their reserves in the base audited, dude. They got some shit on some shit. But go ahead.
Well, they have a lot of money, and, you know, they've got a lot of scandals. But I'm more referring to an even more scandalous time in the Catholic Church, which would have been, you know, leading up to, you know, the destruction of the Catholic Church. The destruction of the Catholic Church's empire that it had. Everything was under the church's control, you know?
Yeah, the Crusades, the witch hunts, all that.
All that. So, well, the witch hunts would have been after. But, well, no, the European witch hunts probably would have been right during that time. You're probably correct on that. But, you know, like the Roman Empire was basically, you know, or not the Roman Empire. I'm going back way too far. But the Catholic Church had a lot of control. I went way back there. I was talking about, you know, early Christianity. But the Catholic Church had so much power, and what broke up that power? It was the printing press. You know, the printing press was what came out, and once a printing press was able, you know, to print Bibles, the people were able to read Bibles for themselves instead of only being able to go by what the people were teaching them, who were the only people that could read and had copies, right? So through that, they were able to do mind control. They were able to control all of the people, like, oh no, this is what the Bible says, but you couldn't read it for yourself. So if we fast forward to today, the internet is the modern printing press. You know, through the internet, we're able to disseminate information and be able to learn things on our own without needing those third-party sources. And so over time, eventually people are going to figure out, and they are figuring out right now, the amount of control that the banking system and the monetary system has on us. But the Catholic Church didn't go without a fight either, you know, and it is still around at this day, obviously. And I think that, you know, banking to some degree will be around, but I think that we can defeat the empire that is the banking system through decentralization. And people say now, you know, like, oh, they have way too much money. Well, as powerful as banks are right now, they aren't as powerful as the Catholic Church was at that time before the printing press came out.
So they can be dethroned.
They can be. And, you know, people
maybe not eradicated, maybe not extinct, but dethroned.
Yes. And I think I think it's a beautiful comparison from, you know, what happened during, you know, I guess probably the, you know, when were I guess the 1600s probably is when their heyday was, somewhere around there, 15, 16, 17. I don't know when the printing press was invented. I can't remember.
That was, a lot of people don't see the similarity between like blockchain technology and the printing press and the steam engine and all these giant leaps in technology that actually produced evolution, you know, maybe not physical evolution, but social evolution. You know, it's crazy. Like the ship, you know, like being able to travel across continents, you know, like what that changed, that we evolved because of that technology. And that's what this is. Blockchain makes money move cross continents. Nothing can stop it. You don't have to ask any permission, can't be stopped. And it's really powerful. It's too powerful. It goes right over the average person's head, you know. But like, what role do you see banks playing in the future, where, you know, crypto and blockchain is more mainstream?
Well, I would say, you know, that they definitely. I mean, if you look at what Fidelity's doing right now, I mean, Fidelity isn't a bank per se, but is an institution. If you're looking at what they're going to do with custodial services, I mean, I can see some custodial services being offered by banks, which, you know, I mean, to some extent, you know, I mean, a lot of people don't like custodial services, but if
printing press 1440, sorry to interrupt.
1440, there you go. What is it, 15, 1600?
Something around, you're close-ish.
It took about 100 years for the printing press to really take off.
Yeah, mass production is one other thing altogether.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then people had to learn how to read who couldn't read. Like, it took a while for that to all, you know, really progress. But yeah, I can see the banks, you know, taking part in some custodial services. You know,
what do you think of things like what Celsius, Uphold, and Salt are doing? You know, I kind of feel like that may be like kind of like a blueprint for what we could expect from things like Wells Fargo.
Did you say Salt?
Sort of around. Like, I mean, who knows what they're up to any fucking more? I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but
Binance delisting is bad. That kind of, you know, I mean.
But that's that's like saying whatever Binance says is the truth.
I agree with you.
I don't want to make Binance affect my opinion, but you're right. Maybe Binance knows something we don't know, but then again,
I almost made that point a little earlier.
Maybe
I agree with you 100% on this.
Maybe Binance was like, you know, Salt, give us more money to stay on our exchange, and Salt was like, no, we don't have, or whatever.
Maybe. Salt has already had a lot of problems though with people taking out loans and not receiving their loans. They've had, you know, one thing I really don't like about Salt is that they set their own coin price, which is so crazy to me. Like fair market value is one thing, and they say no, we're not gonna count the fair market value. We're gonna count what we put on it, and that's centralization in the purest form. So. But yeah, I agree with you. I've been talking a lot on some of my videos recently, and have one coming out where I'm going to talk about it as well. Decentralizing exchanges, not using a decentralized exchange, but decentralizing the power that Coinbase and Binance have, and it's important for us to really, you know, use other exchanges. I
think that starts with the impact them delisting Salt would have on your perspective of Salt without anything else to go on. Right? Like, that would be decentralizing the exchange's power.
That's not all I based it off of. But
Binance's fake decentralized exchange, I think, has pissed off fucking everybody. I've seen Vortex, I think, every tweet he's correcting them. You know, and it is not a decentralized exchange. No. You know, It
It's
is
a money grab.
interesting. Yeah, it's exactly that. And it's interesting that they get to use that terminology without having to deliver. Like, it's not, market fraud or whatever. It's not what you say it is. I don't know
Well,
how that's possible.
I think we now see there's a distinction between whatever Binance's exchange is, where it's basically customers filling other customers' orders on the blockchain, and a decentralized exchange. We don't really have a term. A hybrid would probably be, I guess, hybrid exchange would be the best way to say it. But their nodes are all owned by close partners to Binance. They still have a say over what gets listed, which is crazy to me. On the decentralized exchange, they can kind of just say, it's the same thing. They're still charging $100,000 to get listed
Oh,
on
and
there. They
Binance
might be
made how much
doubling up.
money? You know how much money Binance made last year?
$400 million.
More than any bank. And how much money did they give you for the amount of coin you had sitting on their exchange? Not a penny. You didn't
I got a
get
couple
no.
of Pundi X's.
You don't get any interest. So like it is so messed up. That's you're right. I shouldn't have put Salt in the same category as everybody else, but like have you looked into? Well, I meant more not like Salt what they are doing, but Salt as their
lending platform,
as their roadmap projected, right? Their blueprint, right? Like what they were doing if they fucking did it, right? Like that's what I kind of meant. And then along the lines of like what Uphold and actively what Celsius Network is doing. I mean, Celsius has more paying out loans and paying interest than any of their competitors added up together.
Yeah, I like Celsius pretty good. I looked into what it would take to get some loans on there and some different stuff, and you do get charged a pretty penny for taking out those loans. But if it's something you need to do, and you don't want to sell your crypto completely, then it can be a good option.
I think it's like 7 to 9%, right?
Yeah, something like that.
But I mean, imagine if you wanted to buy a car without having to buy back your Bitcoin at 30-40% later.
Yeah, that's true. So, I like Celsius. I like, of course, I know you love Monarch Wallet. I love Monarch as well.
Yeah, and they're partnering up, so that's going to be amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there will be room for banks to really do that kind of thing. I don't know if they could reinvent their own wheels, rebrand enough to do something like that. So, I think, but like I said, man, we're a ways away from people.
Well, banks have the ability, right, to just print money, fiat, right? What can you do with fiat? You can buy crypto. So they can just keep printing this fiat and buying crypto all they want. And they're probably doing this OTC. If you kind of watch a lot of the public addresses that are accumulating that nobody knows who the fuck's behind that. It's probably banks and institutions moving things OTC, and I'm with you on that, right? Like banks may not have that role because they can't reinvent themselves, but what they can do, as I've been saying, is take that fiat, buy up crypto, and what we're all aspiring for right now, and we're all promoting it with the tip me on Twitter, is the Lightning Network. Banks are going to have enough crypto to open Lightning channels that will force us, if you have X amount of crypto, to use those channels, because you always have to have more crypto in the channel than you're trying to move. So we could have channels between all of us all we want, but somebody has to have enough sitting in that channel to help really move bigger amounts. I think that's where the bank's role may play a big key in maybe closed KYC'd Lightning channels, where we can't use their Lightning channel without opening a bank account, which would be like, hey, having a Lightning channel with the bank, right? To be able to move large amounts through, that would just be incorporating Chainalysis to make sure that we're doing our taxes on the transactions and all that. But I'm thinking that may be for the institutional use cases, right? Like, the businesses would be using those larger Lightning channels that are KYC'd, and you do have to go through the anti-money laundering and all that stuff. But we'll be using the banks that we build, the ones that we choose to use. But then again, the ones that we choose to use may not have enough to do the things that, like, buy a car, buy a house, move larger amounts. So you're going to have to open that channel and get a bank account or a Lightning channel with the bank. I'm just curious, what are your thoughts on them using the fee? then fiat to buy crypto, to open the channels, to do those like, closed lightning channels with institutions moving larger amounts, like forcing an exchange to go through JP Morgan to move large amounts of Bitcoin through a lightning channel, because exchanges move large amounts. They want to use a lightning channel, it's going to be somebody that's larger.
Yeah, I think if they do it, it's because you just gave them the idea. Dang it, Ken. Dang it, Ken. You just
Control delete. Control delete.
delete. No, I mean that's really interesting. I've never really thought about that.
Shout out to psychedelic mushrooms, and shout out to Coinsbank Cruise. That's where that idea came to me.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never thought about that. I would say they're probably not forward thinking enough to come up with some of that. But if somebody gave them the idea, like you may just have, then they may do it.
So you do see it fitting, right? That could be a way to evolve into the business model, right? Like there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. Just do what the fuck you're doing. Just assimilate in and contribute as you were a node.
Yeah, I would have to look into it a little more and see if all that is possible. But I mean, it sounds on first listen, it's outside the box, for sure.
I mean, I have thoughts on how the Federal Reserve is going to become a Bitcoin printing press, just like they're a fiat printing press. They're printing fiat. What does fiat buy? Miners. They're going to print fiat, buy miners. They're going to use it to build farms, get taxpayers to pay for the infrastructure. Then they're going to build these giant mining facilities. Then that's it. They're just going to say, all right, all the transaction fees from these mining facilities are your new taxes, and we're going to use the payouts for X, Y, and Z. Here's the smart contracts where the payouts are going getting sent into this, political party, or why this government sector gets this payout. And I think that may be the future role of the Federal Reserve and the IRS.
The irony here is so thick with Wells Fargo. You want to talk about Wells Fargo? A lot of people may not know this. Wells Fargo started as a company selling shovels and flashlights to miners during the gold rush.
Fuck out of here!
I swear to you, it's true. You can look it up. That's why they have. That's why they have the Stagecoach logo. Going out west.
I thought that just because they put a bunch of gold coins in the back or whatever, and
that's how they got. So that
blew my mind.
Yeah, that's kind of like a story that is why I do what I do in crypto. It's like. The gold rush in the West, in America in the 1800s, like 90% of people that went out there to find gold didn't find it. About 10% of people actually did. The people that got really rich were the people that were selling the tools, and the people that were selling the shovels and stuff. So I've been trying to find some stuff in crypto that I can do to kind of like, as crypto does well, like I want to sell some shovels. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what like Bitmain kind of put themselves in a position for, right? Like they wanted to sell shovels and be a little bit more involved in the back end as well. They wanted to have their cake and eat it too a little bit, like kind of double dip. But it's kind of the business model sense of exactly. That's insane. That I mean, Wells Fargo would just keep using that to keep going. Why would they stop evolving? They've already evolved.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's very interesting when you think about it like that. Wouldn't that be ironic? They start as a company selling to miners and then it turns into a bank and then they go back to mining. That would be crazy.
Damn, dude. I mean, the jokes write themselves. It's like,
I know.
It's like, it feels so like Elon Musk is right. This feels too Matrixy. Way too matrixy. Like this script, it's scripted in some software back end code. The irony and a lot of the things that happen in this world. What about for yourself moving forward? What's going on with BitBoy Crypto at BitBoy_hodl on Twitter? What's going on with you, man? What's your roadmap for 2019? What are you thinking for yourself in the future of crypto? What are you excited for?
Well, it's still working with Crypto Cake. So trying to figure out, what's going on with that. I'm supposed to have my own show on there. I mean, it's hard to raise money for something like that during this market. So maybe if the sentiment changes, they'll be pushing forward with that. I've been in some talks with them. They said things are going well with raising money and things. So kind of waiting to hear back on that, at some point, whether I'll be getting my own show or maybe doing some writing for the channel. So that's the world's first 24/7 cryptocurrency TV channel is what it's trying to be. So Got that going on, and then just a channel. I've kind of changed my format up. I call it the Fresh Five. So every day I'm doing 5 news stories, the top 5 news stories of the day, counting them down. Telling you what the most important one is. So I'm at this place right now where, I mean, like, if you were to go back in August, I had a job and I quit my job.
You
And
quit your job, dude.
yeah.
I hope you're like filling out applications in this bear market, man.
No,
Didn't you hear? Bitcoin's dead.
That's the yeah, here. That's the thing, man. Like I had that job for about 3 years, but before that I've been working from home. So I do a lot of internet marketing. So I've got some different business. I have a ticket website, frontpagetickets.com. You can go buy sports and concert tickets on it. So I've been doing that since 2011.
Ooh, adopt conference tickets in there and you'll be fucking winning, bro. Like crypto conference tickets.
Well,
reach out to World CryptoCon, reach out to Coinsbank and see if you can sell tickets from your website.
Yeah, it's a kind of a complicated apparatus I set up. It's basically where people put their own tickets on there. Ooh. And then I make commission off the tickets I sell. So I've been doing that for a long time.
Ticketmaster must hate you.
I also do I can do website design and stuff. So I got some other businesses, and then I quit my job in August. It got to the point where crypto was taking up so much of my time that I started feeling guilty at work. I was executive director of a nonprofit organization, and I'm in charge, and like I just couldn't get crypto off my brain. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna go full-time crypto. And like that full-time crypto really hasn't worked out too great since then. Because of the market, it's been slow. Like a lot of, crypto YouTubers were doing reviews and things like that. That's slowed down, pretty much almost to a halt. I've noticed a little uptick, a little bit in, the amount of inquiries I get through my email. I don't respond to like 95% of them though, because, I won't review an ICO ever again or anything like that. But I will talk to some exchanges or some other kind of blockchain platforms that aren't ICOs, some projects that, are already on CoinMarketCap. I might talk to them about a review, but for this year, I've got a new business I'm doing right now, which is killing it. It's doing really great. It's signed football helmets. So
wait, like physical, not blockchain tokenized football helmets?
No, actual physical signed football helmets. It's called breaking. It's kind of like we do these raffles. You pay $80 for a spot. You got a 1 out of 8 chance to win like a really sweet helmet. So we do that on Facebook. I have a fake Facebook account. I have a fake name over there, Preston Hughes. That's my name. That's my name on Facebook, because I quit Facebook because I don't want them spying on me. So when I found this new little business, I decided, I don't want all the people I was friends with on Facebook to find me, because my whole point was to unplug from Facebook, but yet right. I needed it for this business. So, I've got this, I got this little fake Facebook life on there, which is pretty hilarious. But so I've been doing that. That's
pretty smart.
Yeah. So I've been doing really well with that. So it's taken up a lot of my time. I've had to slow down on my videos a little bit, but that's given me the flexibility to really just not have to worry about like, oh man, I need my portfolio to get up, or oh man, I gotta take any kind of paid review I can get, or I do paid tweets. Like I don't have to worry about that. I can just sit back and relax. Like I got money coming in. And
what were some of the bigger, more known signed helmets? Any players I might know? I don't know sports at all, so I'm just curious.
Joe Montana.
All right, I know that name.
Joe Montana. Tom Brady.
Tom Brady? No way. You had a signed helmet by Tom Brady?
Yeah, like we've gotten rid of 3 of them already. I won one the other day, and somebody.
All right, so here's my question, because I don't know shit about helmets signed. Like, what's the authentication like? Like, how would I be able to audit or find out if that's like a real signature on a legit?
Right. There's different. There's different authentication bodies. I guess there's JSA. Fanatics, Ratkey. So those are some authentication services.
Oh, cool. The same way you get your playing cards authenticated and stuff.
Yeah. And they'll put a sticker on the back of the helmet, or either it'll come with a card, and that's how you can authenticate it if you want to verify it or whatever.
That's pretty gangster. Yeah. Did he send them through like as an escrow? Like you send the helmet to the authenticator, then the authenticator sends it to the winner?
No, they already come. They already come.
Oh, that makes it easier. Okay.
We have them all physically. So we put them in boxes.
You already hauled all these.
Yeah, man, I got, dude, we had about 80 helmets out yesterday, man. We got.
Did you know you could tokenize them? You could go to wax.io and you could ship them to their vIRL vault, and then they send you a private key. It's in their vault, and then you could actually give away the private key, and somebody could take that private key, sell it, send it, whatever, spend it, trade it, because you could get like an N64 and a bunch of games for your helmet, whatever it's worth.
Yeah.
Or I can send it to them and they'll just mail me the helmet.
Well, it's kind of like right now you got it. So I'm dealing with the Facebook demographic.
Oh, for sure. They're not crypto at all.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I mean, like, I can't
think.
all I do is think crypto, bro. I can't turn it the fuck off.
Well, I want to accept Bitcoin.
This
this
is the best way to turn off. Like,
I want to take Bitcoin on it. Would be really cool if some people wanted to pay that way. But the transactions take a little bit of time, and we got like we're doing Facebook Live, so like these are live streams, so we got to get the payments in. It's got to be really, really, really fast. So, we got to verify the payment before we can break the helmet. So it's a fun little business though. We got a YouTube channel. YouTube channel is pretty small. Headliner Sports Breaks, but you can also find it on Facebook if you're on Facebook. Headliner Sports Break. Headliner Sports Breaks group. Just don't out me on my fake name. I don't care if people know. I hope they don't think it's scammy. It's just I don't want, I really wanted to unplug from Facebook, and I was able to unplug my life from Facebook, but now I need it for a business.
I think I'm like the one of only person besides like an actual mainstream celebrity that used my real name in crypto Twitter. Like, I don't feel like anybody really expects you to use your real name. Maybe because it's expected on Facebook. Like, truth be told, I think Facebook will actually deactivate the account if they suspect that you're not using your real name, which is like totally fucked up. Like, that's some Gestapo-y shit. But again, it's not censorship if it's their platform. If you walk into a business and they say no smoking, it's not censorship. It's their preference. It's their business. It's freedom of
the problem, though, I understand what you're saying. I agree with that. The problem comes in, though, when they try to put on a facade like they're neutral, and then they target, certain groups
and let other certain groups slide that are under the same categories. Yeah, so they start to be biased and agenda.
It's false advertising, really. I mean, if you're going to advertise yourself as, a platform that's going to allow certain activities, and then you've got one group doing that activity that's okay, and you got another group, I mean, it's just like if you go into a business and, you go sit down to eat, and
we just broke $4,000 on CoinMarketCap, $4,000 Bitcoin. What are your thoughts now that we have just broke? Because everybody's going to be talking. This is going to be like the highlight of fucking today now, right? We've been waiting for this moment. Do you think that we have this steam to keep going, the volume to keep going? Or
I think we're going straight from 4,000 to 40,000. All we got to do is just add an extra zero at the end on CoinMarketCap, and there we are.
Dude, Control, Alt, Capture, Edit. We did it!
I think March is I think there's a good chance in March that we could get up back to around 6,000. I think there's kind of a little perfect storm brewing with some, different things coming into crypto. Some institutional things, that we don't really like, but we can't really ignore.
I don't think they're going to have any waves at all.
Well, I mean,
it may have buy the rumor, sell the news waves, but I don't think their purchases will increase Bitcoin's volume in any means. Same thing with the futures. I don't think that it will have
but they're settled in Bitcoins, though. That's the thing. The back futures are going to be settled in Bitcoin, so that means that you have to own them to settle them, which is not the case with the futures that we had before. So it's a totally different animal.
If they only need 30% in holdings to suffice, they're printing paper Bitcoin. You're right. It is backed by Bitcoin, but it may be backed by 30%. It may not be 100% backing, and it scares me about the purchasing, like how they acquire that Bitcoin will be OTC. We won't see that reflected on the market. So they could acquire X amount straight from a miner or from an exchange, OTC, and they'll get the price they want. It won't reflect on the market for us retail investors, and I don't see it being as exciting as everybody wants it to be. I think it'll be.
But it's more about it's not about the individual money that's coming in. It's about the sentiment.
Exactly. Thank you. You're up with you.
Yeah. So the sentiment, I think, if we get these things launching, I mean, if you look back in November, I mean, I could argue that BACT getting delayed in the anticipation of that had a lot to do with why we finally went below 6,000. And you add in, of course, the Bitcoin cash hash wars and things like that. which kind of ties into the institutional stuff as well, because what Bitcoin Cash was doing with the hash wars was showing how manipulatable the price of cryptocurrency was, which was affecting the institutional stuff as well. So I think I think we have a decent opportunity to get back to 6,000. I still believe we're in an accumulation stage. I think we'll be stuck between about 35 and 6,000, until probably, the late summer, early fall is kind of what I'm targeting for when I think we'll start, seeing decent movements, getting back to numbers that we haven't seen in a long time, 7,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000.
John Mack, if you would agree, I think he just tweeted out earlier today. When I woke up, it's going to be 20 to 40,000 by the end of this year.
That would be great. That would be great.
Maybe. I don't know. I spent a lot more Bitcoin in 2018 than I earned, traveling and going to conferences. Yeah. I love the accumulation period right now, just sitting at home and using lending platform to just, like Celsius to earn interest, or, not local Bitcoins anymore, but, still being able to, sell a little bit over market value to buy back and keep the percentage I made over market value as spending money. There's different ways, and even spending crypto, I save money, dude. Like, I use Bit Refill, I save 10% on fucking Uber Eats and shit. What's the other ones, man? Like rewards.com, purse.io. I mean, there's so many ways that I just use it. So spending it, I save money. Selling it, I make money. Holding it and lending it, I make money with my money. I've just found ways to send my Bitcoin to work rather than just holding it in a hardware wallet and just waiting for it to do something for me. I'm proactive with my Bitcoin. I make Bitcoin that I have do things to make itself more valuable in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, you need to learn the most effective way to use whatever crypto you have. Like, a lot of people know I'm a big fan of Tron. That's my biggest bag. And with Tron, like, I can freeze it. I can freeze the Tron, and then I can vote for, the super delegates. What do they call them? The super representatives, the SRs on the Tron network, and then I get, rewards for that amount that I froze. So, and now I see, like, for a long time I wasn't doing that, and I was basically like, I could have gotten a lot of money over the last, 6 months if I had been doing that the whole time. So
right.
Whatever crypto you hold, if it's one that you're holding that you're not trying to trade actively, then just make sure you're using it in the most effective way possible.
And I'll kind of wrap up on that note there, where, that's exactly what the problem is with this space and why a lot of these projects are failing. 100% of the projects that have failed are because the investors were not end users. They didn't use the thing that they invested in. They didn't believe in the product that they invested in. Then that's why even when they did have a product, most ICOs never even got there. But if they did, nobody used it. And it failed because the investors weren't end users. And the product and the companies behind these things only speak to investors. They're not speaking the language of end users. They're not going to conferences to speak to the end user that's going to make the utility of their platform, increase in demand, which would increase the value of the token that the investors invested in. There's no incentive for it. There's no repercussions for not. So I again, with you, I'll never talk about an ICO again. STOs have more weight to them than an ICO ever had, especially STOs that involve utility tokens, and that's why I love Monarch. I think STO utility token involvement with, more institutional investors and involving retail investors, I think that's perfect. And then they involve the end user, and the end user turns into an investor because they're just an end user. So, like, that's the full circle economy that I see coming out. And on that note, BitBoy, where can people find you on the internet? Bro, let them know where to go.
Yeah, you guys can find me on YouTube, BitBoy Crypto. You can get to my Telegram channel, Bit Squad, which you can find the link in all of my video descriptions. And also find me on Twitter and Instagram, BitBoy_HODL. And you can also find me in my house, but I don't want you to come.
Yeah. I promise I won't. What's your address? All right, guys. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to check out BitBoy Crypto at BitBoy_hodl on Twitter. Go ahead and pound that thumbs up button. Don't forget to click subscribe. You can help me defeat Data Bunker right there. They're right there. Data Bunker needs to be defeated, and only subscribers can do it. So subscribe to defeat the Data Bunker. It's a really cool game. And yeah, guys, don't forget to click the notification bell. You'll get an alert every time I do a video. I go live every day. Every day you get some juicy earworm material from me with an awesome guest like BitBoy. Thank you, everybody, and we're out. Have a day.